I want you to imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you didn't have to spend time cleaning up after others and if you weren't surrounded by so much stuff. I want you to imagine how that would feel to step into your home and have it free of clutter. How would you feel within yourself? Welcome to Imprint, a podcast about creating a home and life you love. I'm Natalie Walton, an interior designer, stylist, and best-selling author focused on an holistic approach to homes. Each week, I'm sharing insights and interviews about the creative process to help you enhance both your interiors and well-being, as well as provide you with the tools and resources to make considered and sustainable choices with all that you create. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. Welcome to Imprint. I'm really excited to share today's topic with you, which is all about the secret to simplifying your home. And I should add that it is very much without overwhelm, because what we want to do is we want to create homes that feel good, that help life easy, make life easier. They help us run our homes much more easier. And basically, they save your precious time and energy. So if that's what you want for yourself and for your home, then you're going to really enjoy today's topic, because let's face it, time is our most precious commodity. And we all have, the same amount of 24 hours a day. And yet it is how we spend that time and what we do with that time, especially when it comes to our homes, that is what differentiates those of us who can, enjoy our spaces to those of you who might be struggling with yours. So you're going to find this topic really helpful if you currently feel sort of stressed or anxious about the current state of your home, and it's really not where you want it to be. And this is not even about renovating or styling. It's about getting the basics right. It's about getting the foundations right, because to be able to do those two other stages, if your home is a mess, or if it's in chaos, or if you're just feeling completely overwhelmed with your space as it is right now, then you're not going to be able to renovate it. You're not going to be able to style it to make it look beautiful, because the underlying cause or issue is always going to be there. So I really want to help you understand the importance of simplifying your home and how that really is the foundation to everything else. And it really is the key to feeling good in your home. So it is something that shouldn't be overlooked or seen as trivial or unimportant or something to just sort of put off to the side or think you're going to do another day. You really want to get this right. Now, this is also important if you feel like, you're just basically running around in circles and not making progress in your home. So perhaps you kind of have, bouts or fits and spurts of tidying up or doing different projects around in the home, but you never feel like you get to that point where there's an overall sense of calm and harmony in your spaces, and that you generally feel like you're on top of it. So, if that's something that you don't feel, then you're going to get a lot of value out of today's topic as well. And maybe you're the type of person that has tried to simplify your home before, but it just hasn't worked. You've maybe sort of tried the Marie Kondo process, and you didn't go all the way through, or you've tried other strategies and it just it hasn't stuck, or you haven't been able to get other people in your family on board for whatever reason. It just hasn't worked, and you really want to get to this point in your home and your life, and you feel like, what, I'm a grown up, I should be more on top of this. If you want to feel that way, then I'm really excited to share this episode with you. Now, I don't know, talking of Marie Kondo, I don't know if you saw, but there was a piece of news recently about, she was quoted in the Washington Post as saying that now that she has 3 children, that she can't keep her home tidy anymore. And this is what she was quoted as saying, "Up until now, I was a professional tidier. So I did my best to keep my home tidy at all times. And I've kind of given up on that in a good way for me. Now I realize what is important to me is enjoying spending time with my children at home." Now, not surprisingly, the internet blew up over this quote, and there were headlines saying things like, the Queen of Tidying has lost her title, and that she's given up, and that her house is messy now. And, of course, the media love that kind of story. And, I love Marie Kondo in terms of the spotlight that she has shone on our homes and what an important role that they play in our homes. And normally I wouldn't really flag this type of article, but I do think it's really interesting because I know for me, and I remember reading her book, and this was a long time ago. It was a friend actually lent it to me not long after it came out. And I tried some of the strategies, and I just found that while I like, some of the ideas, many of the ideas in the book, I just didn't feel like it was realistic for me. And over the years, this sort of idea of, going through and taking every single book off the shelf and putting it in one pile and deciding what you're going to keep. For me, it's just not a sort of system that works for me as someone who, works. I'm a busy working mum. I've got 4 young children. I want to exercise, and I don't want tidying to take over my life. So it really is this idea that, creating a system and a process that I could use within my own family, that within my own family home and my own family life, that would work. Now, I know that when I first had children, with my first son, I was a little bit of a perfectionist when it came to my home, and it had to be always tidy and spotless. And I remember feeling after I had my first child that, I've got to let go of my perfectionism, because otherwise I'm just going to exhaust myself. And I did want to spend that time with him. I did want to spend every spare minute tidying up, when I wasn't looking after him or spending time with him. So I had to find a system that worked. And, and that's what I want to share with you today, this idea of, what is it? Like, what is the essence of what actually works when it comes to simplifying your home? So what I want to share with you today, and this really is the secret, the key to simplifying your home is it's not an all or nothing approach. It won't work if you do it once and never do it again. Or it also won't work if you try to shop your way to a more organized home. And it also doesn't have to be an overwhelming process. Instead, it is the small, consistent wins that will get you the results that you want. Now, I go into the step-by-step process of how you can integrate these small, consistent wins into your daily life in one of the bonuses in my course, the Decluttering Masterclass, and it's called the Better Habits Builder. And there's a whole process that I share that we don't have time to go into today. But for now, what I want you to know is that taking small, consistent action towards your goal is essential. That is what is going to get you the results that you want in your home and life. But you've got to take action. And so that's what I want you to do. The problem is that so often we have the intention of taking action, but we don't, or we don't do it consistently. First of all, so many of us, we take an all or nothing approach. And so what I mean by that is that, perhaps you stick to your habit for a few days. Maybe you pack away the dishes before bed for a couple of nights, but then you also, something comes up and you slip up for that night and you don't do it. And then before you know it, you don't even remember that it was a goal. Or maybe that's what it was like with exercise or yoga or Pilates, whatever it is for you. Think about where we are right now in terms of the year and where you're at with some of those goals that you set for yourself at the very start of the year. Because they say something like, so there's some crazy statistic, it's something like, maybe even like 95% or at least 80% of people don't stick to their New Year's resolution beyond January. So when this episode goes live, will be in February. And I want you to just reflect for a moment, what were some of those things that you promised yourself that you would do and that you're not doing? And did you even notice when you stopped doing them? That's the thing. Did you even notice when you stopped doing the things that you said you were going to do? There's a whole reason why that happens and how we can overcome that. And that's what I talk about in this Better Habits Builder, because you really need to integrate these habits into your life in a very particular way for you to have success with them. Otherwise, it's very easy to just, fall off the bandwagon, just let them slip away. And before you know it, you have completely forgotten that they were a goal at all. Now, another reason that we can struggle with, following through on the things that we really want is, and particularly when it comes to simplifying our homes, is that, you might be a bit of an extremist or a perfectionist. You have this kind of mindset. And I know I've certainly been here. This is something that I have to catch myself out all the time. I want it to be perfect. And even today, I've sort of a little bit jet lagged as I'm recording this. And I could see that in my brain was just sort of, it was finding excuses, and it's like, I was writing the notes and I've got to find this other little bit of extra information and this thing and that thing. And, our brains will just find all of these excuses for us. And we've really got to catch ourselves before we get caught in a new loop and a new neural pathway that our brain wants us to create, of just perpetuating the same thing over and over again. We want to perpetuate the things that are actually good and helpful for us, not the things that are just going to keep us safe or doing what we've always done. So it's really important to create that awareness with yourself. And, if you think that it has to be done perfectly, so, my home has to be spotless or it has to be perfectly tidy, and you hold really unrealistic expectations about the standard that you want to set for yourself, then it becomes very hard to maintain, and you can also end up beating yourself up. And then you won't end up sticking to what you promised. Maybe that's staying on top of your emails or how you manage your time or whatever that is for you, and you just give up. Again, it's sort of an iteration of this idea of like an all or nothing process. Now, another area where a lot of people, I see this come up a lot with students in my course, the Decluttering Masterclass, and just conversations with friends as well, is really this, it's like I'm going to say a mindset of not accepting responsibility for your own actions and really putting the blame on other people for your problems. So these are some of the things that people say to me, like, I just can't get my husband to come on board with this, or I can keep my home tidy, but, my children create so much mess, or it's all about other people are creating the problem and that's why you're struggling. Now, look, I get it, because I can completely see as well that, and I have had this thought myself and I have to catch myself that, like if it was just me, this house would be spotless. But the funny thing is that actually I don't find that works, and I don't find that to be true, because I know that when I've gone on a few writing retreats for when I've been writing my books, and I will go and stay in Airbnbs. And of course, like I don't have the place messy, but I actually feel less motivated to keep the place as tidy as what I would my own home. Now, it'd be really interesting if I was still the one in my house and maybe everyone else went somewhere else. And I think we have had that happen. And it's been a similar thing. Like, I don't feel as motivated as when I actually have my family around me. And I find that fascinating, but it's really easy to say, if I lived by myself, my house would be spotless. But would it? Would it really? Like, if you were being really honest with yourself, would it? I know for me, I actually get an incredible amount of joy of creating a home for us as a family. And I also find that, staying on top of keeping our home tidy and, and keeping it simple, that actually makes our life run easier as a family too. So I'm actually more motivated to do it because I know that when I do that, it actually just makes all of our lives so much easier. And there are things that I do within my family, and there's certain strategies with my children to help them keep them on board, and the same with my husband. And I share that. I've got, even our children, we've got this system with it's like basically like a pocket money system, and we've got a jobs chart, and I share the actual chart in the course, and you can download it, and the how much the children get for each task, and how that works, and how that keeps my children motivated to take action. And there are some other strategies that I share as well. But like I said, it's really important that you don't blame other people for your perceived problems. Instead, you really take responsibility for your own action. And before you try and get them on board, you've got to sort of be the example. And you'll find you'll get their buy-in so much more if they see you taking action. It's very hard to convince somebody that something is worthwhile if you're not even doing it yourself. So it's really important, as I said, to take responsibility for your own actions, and doing that will really determine your success in that area, will be a huge key factor. Because as I said, when you create a system that works for your family, and as I said, this is what I teach in the Decluttering Masterclass. And I should say as well that enrollments are about to close. They're closing this week. So if this is something that's important to you, then you should pause this episode right now and go and jump on the course page. You can find it at nataliewalton.com and / I'll give you, and I've made a simple, quick, easy URL. You can go to nataliewalton.com / now, and that will take you straight to all the details about the course if you're ready to take action and finally reclaim back your time and space in your home. And you want to make this a priority because you've tried other things and it just hasn't worked. And you really want to create space for more of what you want in your life. So as I say, go to nataliewalton.com / now. But I want you to imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you didn't have to spend time cleaning up after others, and if you weren't surrounded by so much stuff. I want you to imagine how that would feel to step into your home and have it free of clutter. How would you feel within yourself? So many of my students say that they feel more calm and they save themselves so much time. They're not wasting it on trivial things, but what's actually most important to them and their life. It's really so powerful because when you learn how to simplify your spaces the right way, the process actually becomes easy. It becomes just a part of your daily rhythm, and it's not this big, exhaustive process. And when you simplify your home in a more holistic way, you learn also how to be kinder to yourself and not beat yourself up if your home isn't this sort of idea of perfect that you might have had in your head. And you also learn how to let go of perfectionism, which is, as I mentioned, it's really just your brain's way of making you feel safe. And it actually just keeps you stuck doing the same things over and over again. And when you simplify your home the right way, you will also learn how to take responsibility for your own mess and manage your own time and habits better before you point the finger at anyone else. And you'll also learn how to lead by example, which is actually what will get you the results you want faster than anything else. So I know myself, as I said, when I lead by example, I can see with my husband and with my children that they're more likely to make the effort too. I see this all the time with my husband and tidying the kitchen. His natural propensity is not to pack the dishes away at the end of the day so that we start the next day with everything packed away. If I wasn't there, that wouldn't happen. But when he sees me do it, he knows then it's important to me, and I see that he makes more of an effort to do it. And, we see this all the time with our children, don't we? They do and say what we do and say, not what we tell them to do. So you can't just say, go and tidy your room or go and do this if you're not doing that yourself. If you're not packing your clothes away at the end of the day, you can't expect your children to do it. You've got to lead by example. And I see this with my eldest daughter. She makes her bed every day and she really takes pride over making her bed, and she puts her throw and she folds it in half and she has it nice and smooth over the end of the bed, which is exactly how I do my blanket. And it's so funny to see. And I've never asked her to do that. She just does that because she sees me do that. And she does it, makes her bed in her own way with her teddies and things like that. But it's so beautiful to see that she really takes pride in creating a space that she can enjoy to be in. So, what I want to share with you is that, as I said, the secret to simplifying your home is really to take responsibility for those small, consistent actions that you can take every day, and to make a decision to move forward and commit to it. Because when you do, that is when you will get the results that you want. And recently I had to go overseas unexpectedly. And when I came home, I felt so much better because my home really feels like a sanctuary. And the secret to creating that feeling in your home is really to simplify it, is not to have so much stuff that you just feel overwhelmed the minute that you step through the door. And I think, we've all had that experience of like when you step through your front door after being away, you really see it with fresh eyes. So I really want you to think about how your home makes you feel. Does it make you feel stressed or anxious, maybe frustrated? And do you notice the mess every day and it's sort of bugging you? Or maybe you don't even know where to start and you feel overwhelmed, or it's a problem and you want to improve and you've tried before, but it just hasn't stuck. So as I said, I want to help you to create that feeling of calm in your home, that you only have what you really want and need, but that it can also still be a place of beauty. Because this is not about minimalism. If this is what you want, then as I said, now is the time to take action. So I really would love to have you come join me in the decluttering masterclass before enrollments close this week. And like I said, I'm going to be sharing the strategies so you can build better habits and so you can create this system that is truly sustainable, not just, better for the environment, but it's one that you can stick to and get your whole family on board. So, I want you to think, if you were to simplify your home, what impact that would have on your life. And if you're ready to commit to this idea of simplifying your spaces, as I said, now is the time to take action. So I want you to go to nataliewalton.com/now, NOW, if you're ready to finally take action to create the home that you want. So just quickly, I want you to know that the secret to simplifying your home and life is to make a decision to take small, consistent action. That is how you achieve anything you want in your life, one step at a time. You need to make it a habit so that it's so ingrained that you don't even think about it. And in the Decluttering Masterclass, I share the tools to help you create these habits. I hope to see you inside the course. Until then, have a beautiful week. I'm Natalie Walton, and you've been listening to Imprint. All of the links and info for this episode are at nataliewalton.com/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get a direct download of the latest episode. And I really appreciate when you take a minute to rate and review, as well as share the love with someone you know who might benefit from this episode, or on social media. If you'd like to access a range of free resources, come visit my website, nataliewalton.com. Thank you to Jaeger Media for producing this podcast. And I would also like to acknowledge the people of the Bundjalung Nation where it was recorded, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I look forward to connecting again soon. I'm Natalie Walton, and you've been listening to Imprint.